again, reconnaissance is hard, reconnaissance is important, and there are different ways to do that. Let's start with reviewing the first category, and that's the goals. Okay, so first of all, remember this rule. Yeah, so it's not like the time you spend to the reconnaissance relevant to other activities. It's more of a weight of its value. Okay, so reconnaissance could could consume much more time, I would say, or much less time, but still, its importance in the final value of your report is around that. It's like 4 times more important than anything else you do. Yeah, and it's even from the perspective of a penetration testing services company, it's very important because it can be automated. It can help you be more business effective and so on. So what are the goals? The goals are to collect as much information as possible, and the types are passive and active reconnaissance activities. The difference between these two is rather not very apparent nowadays, because first of all, you cannot do these two things separately. You always perform some activities and they just fall down into one of these categories. And second of all, you have tools, of course, you automate, and these tools normally do a little bit of both. So there is no just like passive reconnaissance category in your toolkit. There is just a tool that can be used for this or for that purpose. Yeah, once again, there is a lot of work to do, but it can be massively automated, and that's a good thing. So what's the difference? The principal difference is that when you interact with some systems that are other than clients, okay, you do that passively. So if you do not interact with the client systems in a way they don't expect you to, this is passive. If you interact with the client systems in a way that is different from normal operations, this is already active. Okay, so if you like search Google, or you even automate these searches through Google API, or you, I don't know, you run Recon NG against some very limited number of highly probable subdomains, yeah, you do a passive reconnaissance. If you start to interact with the services, to validate the emails you have found or guessed, to perform various types of scripted and automated activities against their services, that's most probably a sign of active reconnaissance already. Okay, so if you perform things manually, if you look to them as a normal client, they see day to day, and you do not leave these boundaries of expected behavior, this is passive reconnaissance. You will remain under the radar of their security teams, most probably, yeah. So the most clients won't recognize you as an active hacking reconnaissance in action, okay? And if you start to do some hacking stuff, right, you automate, you write down some Python scripts that try to interact with the services and find out more about what they do and what their contents are, that's most probably already active reconnaissance. By all accounts, it's active reconnaissance already. Okay, so what should you look for? There is no specific limitation to what you should look for during the reconnaissance. As you already know, you have to find out as much about the scope as possible, so you have to find all available data, yeah, or at least as much data as possible. But you should focus on specific things that have perspective, and what they are networks that belong to the client, right? The names, IP addresses, URLs of all applications and services they possess, right? Specific servers, like special purpose service for name resolution, for mail transfers, for webmail access, and so on. like I don't know, VPN servers, um, different type of stuff. Of course, software and configurations. If you can find out about what versions of software are actual at the client's equipment, this would be sweet. Your pen test would be very pleasant starting from that point in time. And configurations. That's unfortunate, but sometimes you can find them online too. At some forums discussing security problems, an admin who is desperate is posting a portion of configuration. That's not something an average system administrator nowadays would do, but back in the day that was very popular. Okay, and that's all technical data. That's more pertaining to the technical assets. What about the personnel, the people data? So that is critical for performing social engineering pen tests, but it can be important for other types of attack as well. For example, you could guess login names for your password brute forcing scripts during your reconnaissance phase, when you find out how the people are, what are their names, and what are the conventions of forming login names or emails or whatever. So you will be interested in creating this database of openly available information about the personnel, starting from full names through contacts like email and phone numbers, instant messaging accounts, social media accounts, interests, hobbies, life stories, anything related to them, anything they are fond of, their skills they showcase in resumes and on the job sites, and their work history as well. And the most creepy, I guess, the creepiest one is geodata, because that's not like you're stalking someone or something like that. That may be very important just to find out how often people visit certain places. So you will definitely be interested in finding out whether they have night shifts, right? So maybe you will have to narrow down your attack window to night hours, just because you know that there is no one there, right?